Never give in. Never, never, never. 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 give in. Never, never, never.
Hi, welcome to the Fern Down Auxiliary Unit bunker. We're here at a dig that's been supported by Dorset Council, digging out the remains of an auxiliary unit bunker from World War II. We've been digging over this on a number of days, and we thought we'd just like to see some of the finds that we've got so far. If I can take you up to the entrance shaft to begin with. If we look down into the shaft, we've got a shaft that was built about 6 feet deep. On the right hand side of the shaft we've got a concrete counterweight with a metal bar coming out of it. This counterweight would have pivoted halfway up the wall and would have raised a concealed roof upwards to pivot round to the side and allow the men down into the shaft. It would have been hidden during the war so that nobody would have been able to see it, and unfortunately that part of the mechanism seems to have gone, but we found the counterweight mechanism still intact. Where we are at the end here, there's also a pipe that can be seen coming out of the wall, just down past the counterweight, just above the dark line. We can see the pipe coming out of the wall, and that's a water pipe. Now if we follow across the trench here, we'll see where the water pipe came from. Just for a moment, ignore these pipes here on the surface, because the pipe we're interested in tracks under the ground and tracks down to this metal water tank. This water tank was found buried, initially found by metal detectors. It's such a big metal target. And what we can see at the end here is that we've got a cap over a metal shaft that runs into the tank with a twist cap on the surface. And around it we've got half of a hollow concrete block. And presumably during the war there would have been some kind of cap or lid on this that would have concealed it and hidden it from the general public walking past, or indeed any searching Germans. Unscrewing this would have allowed the patrol to fill up their supply of fresh water, which would have been kept safely in this nice metal tank, and then presumably there would have been a tap in the main shaft that would allow them to drain off the water for drinking when they needed it. If we come back to these pipes again for a minute, what we've got here is 2 runs of glazed ceramic pipes. These pipes you can see joined end to end with cement joints. These are running out of the main chamber, which is in this direction. We'll take you there in a moment. These pipes would have been for ventilation. We think that this one here was just coming to the end, and there would have been some type of box just where I'm standing that would have allowed the air into the ventilation pipe, or indeed out of the ventilation pipe. The system that they had was pipes at the top of the shaft with warm air rising and running out of them. At the bottom of the bunker there'd have been pipes for cold air, which would have been drawn in by convection current taking the hot air out the top, and that would have provided fresh air to the staff in the bunker.
never, never. Never give in. Never, never, never. Never give in. Never, never, never.
I've just spent the past 6 months constructing a chicken hutch on wheels, a chicken coop, mainly because I got fed up with humping all of the display around, so I built the display inside. Now I'll explain the back of the vehicle with Highworth & Co at a later date. But this is a 270 degree view of the trailer itself, and as you can see we've got the hatches and a little ladder for the chickens to come out and stuff like that. Now this opens up to make a 5 meter long display. Some people have said it's quite ingenious. I just think it's given me something to do over the winter, to think it through and to figure out how it works. The lid itself has got a few posters on it and a banner saying Churchill's Secret Army. And as you can see, it comes open quite quickly. Now these black boxes, they are removable and they will be removed. This one contains the armament that these boys used, or would have used had they been called to action. But of course they wouldn't have used any weapons at all apart from their knives and garrotes, simply because once you fire a gun, people know exactly where you are. So this would have been for an emergency only. And as you can see, in a matter of 5 minutes maximum, I can be up and ready, cup of tea in hand, and ready to talk to the customers or the visitors. And I do in fact talk to quite a few people when I'm at a fete or a show. In fact, very rarely do I stop talking. Now, as you can see, Highworth and Co, that was where these boys were sent for training. They were trained at a house nearby called Coleshill House, and that is still there, owned by the National Trust now. Now the Home Guard were formed in May 1940. The LDV, I should say, Look, Duck and Vanish. That was their nickname, and in fact that's what they did. As you can see by this picture, they were armed if they were lucky enough to get hold of a 12 bore, but most of the time they were armed with pitchforks or wooden rifles. Later on they were to be called the Home Guard. This was just around the time when Dunkirk was around, and we had a problem there, and Winston Churchill renamed it the Home Guard, but also started constructing the auxiliary units using a company called SOE, the Special Operations Executive. They were like the Dirty Tricks Brigade, if you like. Here are some of the weapons. As you can see, Thompson machine gun, Sten. These are homemade, apart from the pistols. In fact, the Fairbairn Sykes knife is just wood and a little bit of leather for the sheath. They would have been supplied with a lot of kit. By 1941 they had this sort of box of equipment, all the explosive they needed, £20 per box. That's 2 boxes per man, and 6 to 8 men in a unit. This would have contained all the trip switches, grenades, etc. Here we have some of the trip switches set up to explode. Some explosive, slightly oversized, a couple of them. But you could connect a certain amount of explosive to one timer if you wished. And we have girder and railway. The idea was to destroy all supply lines. Anything that was useful to the Germans was to be destroyed. They weren't to engage the enemy, they were to engage the railway lines and the roads and the fuel dumps, etc. So any steel bridge, and this is by the way wood and bits of polystyrene and stuff like that. By 1941 they were given underground bunkers which they could hide in. Before that they had to make their own way, as it were, but by 1941 they had underground bunkers where they could stay for up to 2 or 3 weeks. They would come out at night, survey, go back in during the day, and report back to headquarters. If they had shotguns, they were given explosive charges which were solid shot, as you can see in the handle of this one. They were also given a sniper rifle. This was to do away with anybody who knew what they were, where they were, or who they were. Any dignitaries in the village were to be shot because they knew things, and anybody consorting with the enemy were to be shot as well. This meant friends and family as well. If you told your mother what you were up to, then officially she had to go. These are the commandments of the auxiliaires. The main objective is surprise, secrecy, do it undercover. If you're unsure, do it tomorrow. Do not engage the enemy unless absolutely necessary. They were given explanatory books, how to set up the time switches, how to set up the explosives, how to load a hand grenade and set the timer. These books were hidden in as much as they were under a cover of a seed catalogue, a fertilizer catalogue. Highworth fertilizers, get results. Once again, we refer back to Highworth. One of the trainers at Coleshill House was a Fairbairn. Now, Mr. Fairbairn came from Hong Kong. He was in the police force there. He wrote several books on defence, and he also, with a friend of his, invented the Fairbairn-Sykes fighting knife, which the commandos used for quite some time and still use today, I believe. This is a rather silly picture of me, but it shows the memorial at East Creech, which is on the corner at East Creech, and this remembers the boys of the Creech Barrow 7. We have 3 or 4 of these memorials in Dorset and a few more over the country. Would be nice to get one for each unit. Ken Williams was the person who got me interested in this. He was the brother-in-law of Fred Simpson, the sergeant of the Creech Barrow 7, and he wrote a little book which I have extended and published. This is Fred Simpson, obviously a picture for his mother when he became sergeant, and this is the book, or at least this is the poster for the book, Purbeck's Best Kept Secret. We're quite amazed, but we've now sold over 800 of these. So if you come to a show, you can actually read a copy of it and purchase one if you wish. It all goes towards the display and helping to support the display. Now, the auxiliaries were not given anything in recognition. They were civilians, they were volunteers. They were given a letter saying no further recognition will be forthcoming. And in '94, after 50 years of being under the Official Secrets Act, they were told that they could have a party, but they were no further recognition will be forthcoming again. And this is the little badge that they were given. This is the GHQ insignia. Now, that badge, of course, had to be worn on the inside of the lapel, because if it was on the outside, people would have asked questions. And we get back to the rear of the vehicle. The big badge is 201, 202 and 203. That was the 3 areas of the auxiliaries. We have some websites on the bottom, and for all those nasty infestations. Now, we do have a secret in this van, and of course it's a chicken hutch, so shouldn't we have chickens? Of course we should. And here we have chickens with the chicks and the feeding trough, a couple up on the perch. But of course, if you turn the light on the other way, you will now see that there is a radio operator hidden behind a secret wall, and this is how the auxiliaries used to pass their messages backwards and forwards. They would have a messenger runner who would pick up the hidden message, deliver it to this radio operator, who would then talk to GHQ. just a little frivolity of mine. So we've got to the end of the video, but the continuation of their story and the further collection of the facts, we will continue to try and push for these men to be recognised. They were volunteers, they were civilians, they didn't have to volunteer for this, and so we will continue the fight. Thank you for watching. I hope it's been of use, and hopefully we can see each other again soon.